This is Algebra 2, Homework 1-4, the mixture word problems. Let's begin. In number 1, we have 6 feet cubed of soil containing 35% sand mixed into 2 feet cubed of soil containing 15% sand. We need the sand content of the mixture. So the general formula for everything for this lesson is as follows. It's going to be an amount times the percent, or this percent could sometimes be money, plus, I'll say this is amount 1 and percent 1, plus the amount 2 plus percent 2. And this is all going to be divided by amount 1 plus amount 2, and this will equal to the final percent. So I'll say final percent. Again, each of these percents here, here, and here can be swapped out for money, and it still works just as well. I think I did a bad job choosing problems because I think every single one of these is a percent, and I apologize. Some of those should have been money. Just be ready for the quiz and test that might have a money on it as well, just like our classwork from today. All right, so let's fill into our formula. What do we have? We have the first amount is 6 for 6 feet cubed. And I'm going to do this in a different color. 6 feet cubed, and that's going to be multiplied by its percent, which is 0.35. And then I'm going to add the second amount, which is 2, and that's going to be multiplied by 0.15 because that's 15%. And this is all going to be divided by the two amounts added, so 6 plus 2, and that's going to be our answer. So I want to make one thing clear. It's one thing from class that I wanted to mention, but I didn't. You don't have to have these as decimals if you're careful. I will show you that it works without decimals in number 2, how about? But for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave the decimals to show you that it works with decimals as well. In this first problem, I'm going to multiply some things. So 6 times 0.35, what's that going to be? Well, I'm going to double it first. So it's a double triple. That's the same thing as multiplied by 6. So a double is 0.7, and then triple is 2.1. So this is going to be 2.1 plus, okay, and then multiplied by 2 is 0.3 there. And that's all divided by 8. And this is going to be 2.4 divided by 8. And 2.4 divided by 8, well, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this is going to be probably 0.3. This is going to equal 0.3. So what is the sand content of the mixture? The answer here is going to be 30%, because 0.3 as a percent is 30%. Okay, let's go ahead and check our answer. 30%, we got 30% for number 1. So make sure that you have your highlighter tool, and this is going to be highlighted. Ooh, that's an eraser tool. And this is going to be highlighted green. All right, and number 2, this is another percent problem. I'm going to do this one without having the decimals just to show that it still works. In the last problem, you have to convert from decimals, keep the decimals, which makes math hard, and then at the very end, you have to convert it back to a percent. You don't actually have to do any of that, and I'll show you how. It doesn't matter because the units kind of cancel out. I'm not going to explain how the units cancel out. I'm just going to show that it works, I think. All right, so in this problem, we have a metal alloy weighing 2 kilograms, so that's the amount, and that's 10% copper, so that's going to be multiplied by not 0.10, but I'm just going to say 10. I'm not making it into a decimal in this case. And then that's going to be mixed with 8 kilograms that contains 30, so times 30. And this is all going to be divided by the two amounts added together, so 2 plus 8. And then that's going to be our answer. So let's go ahead and figure out what that is. So 2 times 10 is 20. 8 times 30, well, 8 times 3 is 24. So 8 times 30 is 24 with a 0. So 24 with a 0. And then down here, 2 plus 8 is 10. And that means I'm going to get 260 over 10. And I can just cross off a 0, and I get 26. So the answer over here is going to be 26%. I'll go ahead and write that down here. 26% for my final answer, which I will then box. And see, did I get it right? 26%? 26%. It works without decimals, and that's kind of the cool thing. I think I'm going to do that from now on, just to do it without decimals. It's kind of nice. All right, and number 3, Jose wants to make, okay, so if he's after a 60% saline solution, that is the answer. The answer is 60%. So that means when I'm setting up my equation, it's going to be something plus something. It's going to be like this giant fraction over here, and it's going to be equal to 60%. I'm not going to do a 0.6 from now on. I'm just going to say 60%. He already has poured 1 liter of 15% saline, so it's going to be 1 times 15. Again, I'm not doing decimals. I think I've said that enough times. And it's asking for plus how many liters of 65. So x times 65%. And again, the two amounts are going to be added down here. So 1 plus x is going to be added down here. Those are the two amounts. 1 and x were the amounts. All right, so we just need to solve. So I'm going to cross multiply. This is going to be multiplied by this. And that's going to be 60 times 1 plus x. And on the left side, there is no cross multiplication because you kind of have a divided by 1. So when you cross multiply these, 1 times this is just this, right? So I have 1 times 15 is just 15. I'm just going to write 15. Plus 65 times x is 65x. And then from there, I'm going to distribute. Let's see, 60 times 1 is 60. 60 times x is 60x. And I still have the 15 plus 65x. From there, I can move our x's over. I'm going to subtract 60x on both sides, subtract 60x, subtract 60x. And I ran out of room, so I'm going to move this up here. And I'm going to say that 15 plus 5x is on the left-hand side. The right-hand side is just 60. From here, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to subtract 15, and I get 5x is equal to 45. And then I just need to divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5, and x is equal to 9. So how many liters must he add to create his mixture? He needs to add 9 liters. Let's check. 9 liters for number 3, 9 liters for number 3. Do units matter to me? Not really. I'll let you know when units matter. The answer is probably going to be never. They matter a lot in physics and chemistry and a bunch of other things, not so much in math. Math is just about the manipulation of numbers. Math is about how do you use units to help guide you in the process, but I don't think that's super helpful until like a future unit. All right, so this one is how many kilograms. So if I ever use the words how many, I interpret that as x. So x many kilograms of metal at 75% plus 4 kilograms of 35% will give you 59%. So I'll write that down. X many kilograms of 75% plus 4 kilograms of 35%, 4 times 35, and that's going to all be divided by the two quantities added together, namely x plus 4. That's going to give you what percent? 59%. Again, you're going to do this cross multiplication because technically this is divided by 1. So when you cross multiply, 1 times that top left is the top left, and I get 75x plus 4 times 35. Whenever you multiply by 4, that's just a double-double. Times 2 times 2. 35 times 2 is 70. 70 times 2 is 140. So this is going to be 140. That's going to be equal to, okay, I'm going to cross multiply the other direction. X plus 4 times 59 is the same thing as x plus 4 times 59. I'm going to distribute the 59 into the x. I get 59x. Distribute 59 into the 4. Again, that's a double-double, but I don't like doubling 59. It's too hard of a number. I'm going to double 60 and then undo things at the very end. Doubling 60 gives you 120. Doubling 120 gives you 240. So it's going to be plus 240, and then I have to minus 4 because I added too much. So what was that, 240? So it's going to be 236. Alternatively, another way of doing this is you can do the 60 minus 1 times 4. 60 times 4 is 240, minus 1 times 4 is negative 4. 240 minus 4 is 236. I said that all out loud, but you can also just use a calculator. Left-hand side is still the same, 75x plus 140. And then from there, we're going to get the x's on the same side. So I choose to move the 59x to the left side, minus 59x. And when I do that, you're gone. You turn into, it's really close to 60, so it's going to be 15 plus 60, 16x. There you go, plus 140. That's going to be equal to 236. If the variables are on the right, that means that this constant needs to move to the right. Or sorry, if variables are on the left, constants need to be moved to the right. I said it right in my head. My mouth did not cooperate. So I'm now left with 16x. I'm going to subtract the 140, and I'm going to get is equal to 236 minus 140. So namely 16x is going to be equal to, well, this is basically 240 minus 140, which is 100. And then I have to move the 4, so it's going to be 96. I have to divide both sides by 16, divide by 16, and x is equal to, well, how would I do this? This is really close to 100. This is really close to 15. 15 times 6 is close to 100. Let's see, 6 and 6 is 30. Yeah, so it's going to be 6. It's going to be x is equal to 6. And we were talking about kilograms for our units. 6 kilograms for my final answer, which I will then box. Let's see, number 4, 6 kilograms. 6 kilograms. Go, Mr. Sundell. All right, that means that needs to be highlighted in green. All right, what about number 5? Paul and his brother mixed together 2 types of soil to make 12 feet cubed of soil. with 20% sand content. So that means there's some fractiony things happening out here on the left, and at the very end, he gets 20%. So 20% is our final answer. They used 8 feet of soil at 10%, so 8 feet times 10%, and 4 feet cubed of another, so plus 4 foot cubed of another. We don't know that another, so it's going to be x. So we know the amounts. The amounts are 4 and 8, so I'm just going to do 8 and 4, and I can solve. So I'm going to simplify the 8 and 4 into a, let's see, 8 and 10 is 80, 4 and x is 4x, 8 plus 4 is 12. So our new fraction on the left is 80 plus 4x over 12. Right-hand side doesn't change, it's still 20. From here, I will undo the division by 12 by multiplying this side by 12, multiplying this side by 12. The 12 and 12 should cancel each other out. That's the whole point. And that leaves us with 80 is equal, or not equal to, 80 plus 4x is equal to 12 times 20. Well, 12 times 2 is 24. Add on the 0, get 240. Let's subtract 80 on both sides. So minus 80, minus 80. Ran out of room. That means I'm coming up to the top right up here, leaving us with 4x on the left-hand side. The right side is going to be 160. And from there, we just divide both sides by 4, divide by 4, and x is equal to 40. So what was the sand content? The sand content was 40%. Notice what I'm doing here. I'm not changing my answer here. The answer is 40, and then I'm going to interpret it and rewrite my interpretation. My interpretation is 40%. So let's check number 5. Is it 40%? Number 5 is indeed 40%. So I'm getting the right answer. That means you're highlighting green. Anytime that you make a mistake, you should be highlighting not the answer, but where the mistake is in purple. Find those mistakes. The whole point is finding the mistakes. All right, Deshawn created a metal containing 30% silver by combining 2 other metals. So our answer is 30%. So I'm going to go ahead and say there's going to be some sort of fractiony thing here, and it's going to be equal to 30%. And it combines 2 other metals. One of these metals was 3 pounds, and I'm guessing it's another percent times 70%. The other metal weighed 12 pounds, so plus 12 pounds, and we don't know what the percent is, so we're going to say times x. And that means I need to move you guys over here and extend my line like that. And I need to add the 2 amounts. 3 and 12 were the amounts, so I say 3 plus 12. Let's go ahead and simplify on the line underneath this. We're going to say 3 times 70 is 210. 12 times x is 12x. 3 plus 2 is 5, and the right side is still 30. I need to solve. I need to undo divide by 5, which means I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Multiply left side by 5, multiply the right side by 5. These are going to cancel out. 5 and 5 are gone, leaving us with 210 plus 12x on the left. 5 times 3 is 15, add the 0 to get the 150. From here, I'm going to, I already know that the variable's on the left side, which means the constants need to be on the right side. Move the 210 over by subtracting 210 on both sides. Minus 210, minus 210. Ooh, we've made a mistake. So this is an important learning scenario. What have we made a mistake on? And how do I know that it's a mistake right now? I'm going to get a negative number over here. That doesn't make sense. How is my percent going to be a negative? Without even checking the answer, I know there's some sort of mistake. So let me go back and comb through. Why do I have a negative number happening on this side? Let's check. We had 30% is the final answer. That is interpreted correctly. One of the metals weighed 3 pounds, so there's a 3 pounds. That contained 70% silver, so 3 times 70%. If the other weighed 12 pounds, then we need to figure out the percent. There's the percent right there. And we know that 3 pounds plus, it was 12 pounds. So 3 pounds and 12 pounds. So there's my 3, there's my 12, there's my 3, there's my, oh no! Yeah, this is supposed to be a 12 there. So I caught my mistake, and let's go ahead and fix it. 3 plus 12, which means I need to, I should highlight this in purple, so showing you the mistake. I should have highlighted that in purple to let me know that I made a mistake there. And then I need to fix the rest of the problem. So you need to be fixed, you need to be fixed, you need to be fixed, and all of you needs to be fixed. So that was my original mistake. I forgot that it was a 12. And if I do that, that means I have a 12 down here that I need to multiply by. I'm going to multiply both sides by 12 and not by 5. Multiply by 12 and not by 5. These 12s and 12s should cancel each other out, leaving me with 210 plus 12x. And that's going to be equal to 3 times 12 is 36. Don't forget the 0. 36, 0. Now I can move the 210 to the other side and check it out. When I subtract 210 on both sides, this is now a positive number, which means I have no, well, I might still have a mistake, but I don't think there's a mistake anymore. So in this problem, I'm going to rewrite this up here and say 210 minus 210 is gone. 12x remains. On the right-hand side, 310 minus 210 is 150. And then from there, I can divide both sides by 12. Divide by 12, divide by 12, and 12s are gone, leaving me with x is equal to 150 divided by 12. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but I know, ooh, is it a gross number? Have I made another mistake? This is a weird number. Because I'm thinking 120 goes into 150, and then I need another 30. 120 plus 30 is 150. 120 divided by 12 is 10. 30 divided by 12 isn't divisible, but I can do 30. I can do up to 12 copies. So that's 6 is 0.5. Okay, so I got 2.5 for that fraction. So adding those together is 12.5%. So is my answer 12.5? I'm saying that like a question because I haven't seen any decimals for these. I'm going to say it's 12%, 12.5%. I don't know. Number 6, what do you got? Yeah, we're still wrong. We made another mistake. It should have been 20%, and I had a feeling we made a mistake as soon as I saw the decimal. All right, let's go ahead and investigate. Where did we make our mistake? It should have, let me just make sure. Number 6 should have been, yeah, it was 20%. I'm not making a mistake and looking at the wrong number. Going through this problem a little bit slower. Here we go. We have 3 pounds and contains 70% silver. 3 pounds, 70% silver, 3 went down there. The other weighed 12 pounds. The other weighed 12 pounds, and we don't know what percent of it was silver. So 12 pounds, don't know what percent is silver. 12 came down here. 12 plus 3 is... You guys already caught it, and you didn't speak up. Oh my goodness. How is 12 plus 3? In what world is 12 plus 3 12? How does you turn into you? Ay, ay, ay. Well, I'm getting a lot of good practice here on the other hand, so let's go ahead and try this again. So now I can highlight yet again in purple. That's a mistake right there. Let me erase and then I'll redo this. It should have been a 15. I've made 2 mistakes now. My goodness, Mr. Snell. That's my second mistake. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to multiply by 15. When I multiply by 15, you and you are gone, leaving me with 210 plus 12x, like I had before, and that's going to be equal to, you are not a 12 anymore, you are a 15 over here. 15 times 3 is 45, so it's 45 with a 0. 45 with a 0. Let's come up here and get rid of you, and you, and you. And, no, that's all good. Okay, so I'm going to have 450. How do I do 450 divided by 12? Well, I know that if I do 240 and 240, that gets me to 480, which gets me really darn close. And then 480 is 30 apart. This still doesn't feel like it comes out nice. It's because I'm making another mistake. Man, I'm making so many mistakes. If you're catching these, you're getting like extra credit. By the way, Mr. Sandell, you have to subtract 210 from both sides. Mine is 210 from both sides, which means that this number isn't 450. It is 240. And that's a nice number. Here's why. 24 is divisible by 12. It's 2. So the answer here is 20. And then the interpretation of that is 20%. Yes, I will highlight my other mistake. My other mistake was right there. I made 3 mistakes in this one problem. There's 3 opportunities for extra credit in your extra credit trackers, which I think I have yet to pass out. My bad. 20%, which I know is 20%. Oh my God, that took way too long for a single problem. But it shows you, sometimes you make mistakes and you just got to persevere through them, right? Good teacher, Mr. Sandell. Let's move on to number 7. Brand X sells 34-pound bags of mixed nuts. Okay, so these last 2 are the hardest types of problems in the entire homework. The reason for that is it feels like there's not enough information, and I don't even know if I have enough room to do these, so I'm going to try to like write way up here in the top left. All right, mixed nuts. So that means if I have brand A and brand B, those both add up to 34 pounds. So here's the critical information that most people will miss. I'm going to do capital A and capital B. If I add those together, I will get 34 pounds. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of this. So to make their product, they combine brand A nuts, which contain 19%. So I'm going to do A times 19%, and I'm going to add B, which contains 70%. So b times 70%, and that's all going to be divided by the quantity that we add up. This quantity and quantity, so I'm going to do a plus b in the bottom. And in the end, they're going to get 46. And I feel like that's a waste of space, so I'm going to move you right there. All right, so this is the important piece. If you only had this and you did not have that, you would have one equation. One equal to sign means one equation and two variables. You have a and b. If you have two variables, you need at least two equations to solve. That's the clue that gives you the idea that you need a second equation. And the second equation was a little bit hidden, but they sell 34-pound bags of A and B nuts, of mixed nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit replacement. The first replacement, A and B is 34, which means this A and B is 34. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this equation down here. I'm going to have a fraction where the bottom is 34. For the top, oh, the right side is still going to be 46. Let me undo that accidental dot, is equal to 46. So I need to do some manipulation of this equation here to either isolate A or B. It doesn't matter which one I isolate. I'm just going to randomly choose A. If I choose to isolate A, I need to get rid of B. Subtract B, and that means A is equal to 34 minus B. You say, okay, that doesn't really help us that much. All you did was move B to the other side, and it's still a gross equation. Yes, but it's setting it up for substitution. If this A is 34 minus B, this A is 34 minus B. So, and so is that one, but we already got rid of it. So this A, I'm going to switch to 34 minus B. Here we go. 34 minus B is that A, and that was being multiplied by 19. That looks like a disgusting multiplication problem, but okay. Plus B times 70, and I continue on with that. And you can see why I thought I was going to run out of space, because I am running out of space. How am I going to do this? Okay, so I'm going to distribute the 19 into the B, which is easy. It's going to be minus 19B. Where did the minus sign come from? It came from that minus sign right there. A negative times a positive is a negative. And I need to distribute 19 into the 34 as well. So how am I going to do that without a calculator? I always push myself to see if I can do it without a calculator. Well, 19 times 34 is really, really close to, it's the same thing as doing 20 minus 1 times 34. And I can do that problem in my head, but I want to show you how I do it out loud. 2 times 34 is 68, so 68 with a 0, and negative 1 times 34 is negative 34. So 680 minus 34 is 646. So this is going to be 646 minus 19b plus 70b. And that's all going to be divided by, not by 34 anymore. I'm doing a bunch of things in the same step because otherwise I'm going to run out of room. I need to get rid of that 34. The way that we undo divide by 34 is multiply by 34. So I'm going to multiply this side by 34, multiply this side by 34. And when I do that, the 34 and 34 are gone, and I need to do 34 times 46 over here. I'm going to do that without a calculator. And here's, this is how I'm going to do that problem. I hope that this is the fastest way of doing it. I'm not sure. What if I do 45 plus 1? No, I'm going to have to do 40 plus 6, I think. 40 plus 6 and 30 plus 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Don't forget the 2 zeros. 6 times 3 is 18. Don't forget the 0. 4 times 4 is 16. Don't forget the 0. 6 times 4 is 24. I just need to add up all of those. So I get, I'm curious about these pieces right there. So they add up to 340. 340 plus that one is 364. 364 is going to be 524. 1,524. So 1,524 over here. So this is going to be equal to 1,524, and I should have made that in black. Equal to 1,524. I hope that I did that right without a calculator, but you guys can probably check that already and tell me if I'm wrong or not. Shout out at the computer if I'm right or wrong. All right, next thing that I'm seeing is this B can be combined. Those are like terms. So if I add those together, I get, this is basically 20. 70 minus 20 is about 50. So I'm going to say this is 51B here. And I still have, that's a positive now because you always take the sign larger. If that was larger, you take that sign. And then I have a 646. So 646 is still being added to 51B. That's equal to 1,524. And then from there, I'm going to subtract 646. I'm going to do that in a different color though, so it pops out. So minus 646 minus 6, on both sides of the equation, minus 646. Oh gosh, without a calculator. Is there a trick for this one? Yes, there is. Check it out. If I'm doing 1, 5, 2, 4, minus 646. Let's make this number a nice number by adding 54. If I add 54, that turns into 700 down there. But if I add 54 down there, I have to add 54 up here. If I add 54, that's going to be 78. So it's going to be 1578. And now the subtraction problem is much easier. What is 15 minus 7? That's 8, I think. So it's going to be 878. So I'm going to get 878 is equal to 51b. And then finally, I'll divide by 51, divide by 51, and I get b is equal to, let's go ahead and guesstimate here. It's probably going to end in 8. I have a bad feeling about this one. Well, 5 times 10 is 500, so it's going to be above 10. It's going to be another 37-ish, so that's going to be another 5-ish. So I'm guessing 15. Ooh. I don't know, guys. I'm losing faith in my without a calculator abilities. Let's see. This is fun for me though. I need to figure out. It has to be, if it's an even number, which I'm guessing it is, it needs to end in an 8, because 8 divided by 1 is 8. So if it ends in 8, then 5 times what is roughly 87, and 5 times 17, I think. 7 times 5 is 35. So 17, 18? Well, it has to end in 8. Is it 18? Here's my guess. I'm guessing 18. Let's see how close I was. I'll erase this work over here in a sec. I'm going to guess that 51 times 18 is 878. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry the 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. That's 918. I was really close. It can't be 7. I think I made a mistake then. I don't think this comes out very nicely because it can't end in 7. All right, I give up. I'm going to go ahead and use a calculator because I've made a mistake somewhere. I want to take a peek at the answer to see if it helps us. Well, 18, I'm seeing here, guys. 18 was the answer, but that's not what I was getting. I was getting some other number. Let's see, where did I mess up? So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to split the screen. You go to the left. Calculator goes to the right. Let's check all of the math that I did and say, okay, what's 19 times 34? 19 times 34, did I mess up with you? 646. Hey, I did that one right. What about 34 times 46? 34 times 46. 1564. 1524. How did I get 1524? Should have been 1564. Let's find my mistake. I care about finding my mistake, so I'm going to highlight it in purple. 1524. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I might have said it out loud and I wrote it down wrong. Check it out. 60 plus 80 is 140. 140 plus a 20 is 160. I don't know why I said a 20. It was still a 60. That should be a 60. I think I said it right, but I did do it wrong. Okay, or that I wrote it wrong. Brain and fingers are not talking to each other. So that turns into a 6. That turns into a 6. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down. This is a 64, which means if that was a 20, then it's going to have to go up 40. So if this is going to go up 40, this is going to be 918. So this number here is going to be 918. And 918 is what we got. 918 was the work that we scratched out over here. That is 18. Yes. All right. So B is 18, but notice that the question is asking not just what B is, but what is A. A over here, A plus B is equal to 34. So what plus 18 is 34? 16, right? So therefore A is 16. A is equal to 16, and these are both pounds. So LBS. I think that's the right answer. I vaguely remember the answer, and I think they're both even. 18 and 16. 18 to 16. 18 of B, 16 of A. Is that what I got? 16 of A, 18 of B. Let's go. All right. So I did get the right answer, but I did make a tiny mistake, so I can't highlight the answer in green. The mistake that I made was right here. This was my mistake. That's 6. Let me make this smaller highlighter color. That 6 was my mistake throughout the entire process. Only one mistake. All right, that was a long problem, and I only made one tiny mistake. Let's try to make no mistakes in number 8. But if you make a mistake, you just learn from it, right? I learned that I need to go a little bit slower when I'm doing this crazy multiplication. Maria asks you to make 15 gallons of fruit punch containing 16% fruit juice. Okay, so that means that we're doing our total are A and B. A plus B, our total has to be 15. And we know that our final answer is 16. So we know that our final answer down here is going to be something is equal to, I'll do it, something is equal to 16. And it's going to be some sort of fraction-y thing is equal to 16. A is 10%, so A times 10, and B is 20%. So B times 20%. And we know we always do the quantities down here, A plus B down here. All right, well, we know that A plus B is 15 because A plus B is 15. So I can already replace this now with a 15, and I need to do some substitution up here. So let's do substitution. I'm going to subtract B, and I get A is equal to 15 minus B, which means this A right here is 15 minus B. So I'm going to say 15 minus B is that A, and I'm going to rewrite the rest of the equation, times 10 plus 20 times B, and that all has to equal 16. All right, I'm ready to do some simplification before I do my cross multiplication. Let's go ahead and distribute. 10 times negative B is negative 10B. 10 times 15 is 150. And 20 times B is 20B. And then this is still all being divided by 15. I have enough room to make that a separate step, and that's still equal to 16. From there, I'm going to undo divide by 15 by multiplying this side by 15, multiplying this side by 15, and our 15s and 15s are now gone, leaving me with 150, and minus 10b and 20b is just plus 10b if I combine my like terms. On the right side, 15 times 16 is really, really close to 15 squared, which I know by heart is just 225, but I need another one copy of 15, so that's going to be 240, I believe. So I'm going to erase you and say that that's 240. I hope that I did that correctly in my head. And then from there, I'm just going to solve, right? I'm going to subtract 150, subtract 150, and that's going to go away. 10b is equal to 90. And then if I was about to skip a step, I'll slow down. Divide by 10, divide by 10, b is equal to 9. If b is equal to 9, which is a nice value, so I feel like I probably didn't make a mistake. If b is 9, I know that they have to add up to 15. So 9 plus what is 15? Well, 9 plus 6 is 15. So that means that a has to be 6. So I'll write that explicitly. We have a plus b is equal to 15. And I know that b is 9, so it's really a plus 9 is 15. By process, well, why did I write b? I don't know. 15, and I subtract 9, a is equal to 6. So I think a is 6, and then 6 what? 6 gallons? A is 6 gallons, and b is 9 gallons. Please, please, please. I would like to get one of these right, because I've had 2 in a row that I had mistakes. B is 9. So a is 6, b is 9. A is 6, b is 9. A is 6, b is 9. Let's go! All right, I can finally highlight one in green. Good job, Mr. Sindel. I'm patting my back right now. Those both get the green. That concludes this very long Algebra 2 homework assignment. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I know I did. I'll see you guys later.